The computer don't lie. Now, let's see. It says you're a dead fuck.
This is the Horrible Film School. Take a seat and slowly rip open your Trapper Keepers. I am Chris Purdy, and I am here with Ratchet Ryan Hootie.
Happy Friday the 13th, boys. Ready to talk about Corey Feldman today.
It's our lucky day. Also here with the one you've been screaming for, Mr. Nasty, a.k.a. my big brother, Joy.
What up, y'all? Only got one thing to say. How about them Buccaneers? Who gonna beat them Bucks? Who they? Who they? I say who they gonna beat them Bucks? Who they? Who they? Hootie? Who's gonna beat them Bucks?
All right, boys, before we get into the show, I wanted to do a quick little shout out to our fans. Just to let you know that you can hit us up on Instagram, pretty active on there. Of course, you know how to find us on the website, horriblefilmschool.com. I also wanted to send a special shout out to a review we just received from a user on Apple Podcast by the name of Tim. Tim says, I stumbled upon your podcast during my many hours of daily driving. And as a lover of horror films, it's right up my alley. I've listened to 4 over the past 2 days, and I look forward to hearing more. I give your show a solid B. I also live in West Virginia, and sadly there is no statue to Brad Dourif. In fact, I live 20 miles from his hometown, and most people don't even know who he is. Sad as it may seem, maybe I just talked to the wrong people.
That's awesome.
First of all, a fucking B, Tim?
I thought it was appropriate, considering we are probably B-rate movie reviewers at this point.
Bullshit. I bring the fucking fire every week. You're going to have to bump that shit up, brother.
But yeah, shout out to Tim. Appreciate the feedback there.
Thanks, Tim.
Supporting
appreciate
us. It's a grassroots campaign here, so we appreciate the love. Good sir. Good.
Yeah, I want to hear what episodes you
Godspeed those
watched.
travels.
Go check out our Twitter and our X.
X's.
Do we call it X now or Twitter?
I think we just kind of lean towards Instagram at this point because everything else is kind of weird.
Check out all the socials and let us know, what sort of stuff we can improve, what sort of stuff we're doing,
Rank the 3 of us in order from best to worst. How about that?
I'll put
make this shit real competitive. Yeah, we appreciate the feedback. You might want to leave a review. Please do so. We do read those, obviously. So, thanks again. Without further ado, let's talk about today's assignment. 1984's Friday the 13th, the final chapter. The lesson. If you want to make a fool out of yourself, always do it with someone new.
So yeah, before we get into this thing, I got a question for you guys. Something lighthearted, something simple. What's the best snack/sweet treat put out by Little Debbie, in your opinion, and why is it Nutty Buddies?
Nutty Buddies do fucking slap.
For this question to be successful, you have to take Nutty Buddy off the table. Because
it's like unanimously like the one, huh?
Has to be. Right, Chris?
It can cut the roof of your mouth a little bit sometimes.
You and its roof shit.
Well, yeah, when you eat it like a voracious hog.
I'm saying the texture sometimes can be a little off-putting. Personally, I've never seen a double-decker fudge round that wasn't absolutely perfect.
Can I describe how I eat a Nutty Buddy to prevent that whole thing of it like?
Nah, you don't take it apart or some dumb shit.
I eat a Nutty Buddy like I'm undressing a very attractive woman. I just take it apart piece by piece, and I just take a bite here, take a bite there. You got to break it down.
I think I have an actual pick, and I think it's discontinued at that.
If you say the salted caramel cookie bar, I'm going to lose my mind because that's my favorite.
Now, when I was a kid, besides the Nutty Buddy, I really enjoyed the peanut butter and jelly like oatmeal pies. It was like an Uncrustable, but add a shit ton of trans fat.
All right, that's going to do it for our little Debbie. Let's wrap it up. Let's jump into this thing, fan reviews. The old standby, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, IMDb. I'm going to hit you with a posse right here. The climax of the Friday series from legendary Underdog 13 in July of 2007. Who'd thunk it? Joseph Zito would be directing Friday the 13th, the final chapter, the same man who brought you The Prowler from 1981. This movie is definitely, if I can say so, the classiest and most dressed up Friday film of them all. There is more substance with characters, the sequences are great to watch, Jason is at his most mortifying peak as far as looks go. Corey Feldman turns in a great performance as Tommy Jarvis. Kimberly Beck does a wonderful job of portraying Tommy's older sister Trish. Easily the most satisfying Friday flick of them all. I would recommend this movie to anyone who has not watched any of the films in the series yet. 10 out of 10, no question.
No question. I like that.
No
That is
question.
a solid point there. This is probably a great introductory Friday for somebody who's not into it.
The most accessible Friday movie, period. It's got everything a Friday movie is supposed to have.
As I was rewatching this film, this was the one that I remember the most. They all kind of blend together at some point, but this one is the one I remember the most from my youth.
I think this is probably like heralded by a lot of the actual like people who've seen multiple films and multiple movies throughout the franchise as their favorite. So okay, on to the negative, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna preface this. This has got to be the best negative review of a film or one of the best in terms of like how spot on it is with a lot of people's gripes of the franchise and of this movie in particular.
So you're validating the negativity ahead of time?
Yeah. Out of one of my favorite movies, this is actually a really good negative review. I had to dig for this one a little bit. What's the body count now? From Darren Wisbaum 3 in September of 2009. Okay, enough is enough, people. How long can Jason carry a grudge about his dead mother? I would think that after all these sequels and all the dead, sex-starved kids that someone would have noticed that people die when they go to this lake. No one seems to. Anyway, this is yet another tired Friday the 13th that is pretty much as all the rest before, and since with kids getting stabbed, hanged, strangled, pulled underwater, smashed in the head with a hammer, pushed downstairs with a machete protruding from their face, ice pick forced through someone's temple, and whatever else Jason can come up with, at least they have sex before they die. The producers have made their money, I would say. Now save yours. 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. I see he gives it the bump of having some production value, so that's cool.
It's such a simple criticism, but at the same time, the Friday movies are a simple movie. So it's really easy to criticize and put into a box. I feel like instead of it being, drawn out, a dramatic review, it's definitely on the nose.
It's kind of weird to think about this with modern eyes because we didn't grow up. We weren't born when this was coming out, so we didn't have like Jason fatigue. You think about like comic book fatigue now and like the fast movies. How many, like 10 of them now, So we've kind of seen how people have like soured on those over time. But I feel like back then, like these movies were probably like event movies or something, Like they weren't holding them under the same kind of microscope that we do modern movies. So for me, it just seems like it'd be like going to a haunted trail every year or something.
Oh yeah, this whole slasher genre was still relatively new at this point, with it being the mid-'80s. So it's not something you've seen 100 times. I think this movie made like 30 times its budget or some shit like that. I'm sure we'll get into it. But with this being the fourth movie, people were not tired of the format at this point. They were not tired of horror at this point.
You also have to think about the fact that, at least in the Friday films, you don't really get this version of Jason until the third film. So people are hungry to see this big, brute bastard actually, kill people instead of like a potato sack on his head or his mom killing people.
Oh yeah, the mask definitely gave him like he doesn't have a personality, but the mask is the personality.
Yeah.
I think the franchise is kind of emblematic of the 80s itself. Like it starts in 1980, and this is just 4 years later, and it's become its own thing, just covered in sex and cheesiness and glitz. It's like probably the most 80s horror franchise you could imagine.
All right, going to touch on the director here and a few other notable crew members. Joseph Zito was tagged to helm this project as the director. Directed the 1981 movie The Prowler, which was a horror movie in similar vein as Friday the 13th. Didn't do much outside that in terms of volume. I think he only directed like 8, 9, 10 movies, something like that. He did some work with Chuck Norris.
Yes, he did.
Oh, you got something to expand on that? Go ahead.
He did Missing in Action and Invasion USA.
Thank God.
It kind of surprised me because watching this movie, there's talent there as a director. Like how this movie turned out in terms of like the editing and the actual like composure of or composition of the movie.
It's funny you would say that, Joey, because of the 10 films Mr. Zito directed, this has the highest IMDb rating score at a 6.
Nice.
Relatively low on the IMDb scale. Other than Mr. Zito, we also have Mr. Murder, the Wizard of Slaughter, Master of the Macabre himself, Tom Savini, is back as lead special effects makeup artist / supervisor. For one last ride with Jason. It shows because his work in this movie is stupendous. We always dick ride Tom whenever we talk about it.
Got to.
Tommy boy.
But there's a reason behind it. I mean, you compare the kills from this movie with the kills from the previous entry in 3. Not to shit on 3 because I actually enjoyed 3. The kills in the final chapter are some of the best in the franchise. Some of the best, arguably, in the history of horror cinema.
I have a note on that is that there's speculation that Tom only took this job in order to kill what he created.
They all had the best of it. I mean, they called the movie The Final Chapter. Do you think it's the success of this? They were like, oh, we finally figured out what makes this franchise really work, so we can't really stop it now, you know?
I don't think there's been a movie in the history of movies that has the final in the title and has actually been the final. I mean, I think we're on Final Destination 6.
They're going to get there.
Well, now it's a little...
Dude, there's a shit ton of them movies. Like, when are we finally going to get to where we're going? I mean, holy shit.
But, I mean, imagine, like, if your life's work, you create this character, and then you're like, all right, this is the last one, and then people were like, oh, this is the best. Do you stop there? Do you stop there?
I was watching something, and I saw a still of him working on that hydrocephalic head of that boy. The water head of that boy. God almighty, I can't stop laughing at it.
Big old head.
It was looking extra bubbly that day.
You're talking about Josh Voorhees? We talked around this name a lot. We can't forget.
This shit back up.
We can't forget his name was
Boy, that
Josh
was so fucking
Voorhees.
funny, wasn't it? Oh my god. And if you're talking about a Friday the 13th movie, you're also talking about Harry Manfredini. He's back once again scoring the movie. More of the same, definitely not a bad thing. It's almost like his score on top of the kills accentuates how good the kills are.
Well, as one more kiss blown to Tom Savini will say, half-ass research that the character of Tommy in the movie is named after him, from what I understand. So that's cool.
Yeah, it definitely plays out like it's an homage. We spoke about it earlier. $1.8 million budget. It made $32.6 million at the box office. That's fucking massive.
So apparently the writer, Mr. Barney Cohen, originally wrote a scene that involved Jason fondling a girl's breast. But the producers vetoed it. The director said that it made Jason seem too human and less menacing. Thought that was kind of interesting.
I had the same note, but I don't understand why making Jason human is a bad thing, because he is a human being, right?
This is like in between what he would become and what he used to be. I mean, he was like a zombie boy, if we're trying to be
zombie boy
specific here. Like he was living underwater, right?
At this point, he was still human.
No, we see that face. That's not a human face.
Wow.
Well, how about that?
Wow.
I'm
That's
sorry.
super
Only mother
fucked up,
could
bro.
Real
That's super
progressive,
fucked up.
Chris. Real progressive.
Damn. So I didn't know you were triggered by that, but He definitely had a
He
demonic appearance to him.
Went into the lake as a goddamn hydrocephalic and came out a mongoloid. Is that what you're saying?
Previous movie, in part 3, I think we had covered the fact that there was an allusion to him, like, stalking and trying to rape the final girl, remember? She thought it was a dream. This man attacked her in the woods, and the implication that he was trying to, like, sexually assault her. So there's 2 movies in a row where that's kind of been thrown out there and then taken back.
The whole reason they're not trying to humanize Jason so much is if you humanize him, it makes him less terrifying in the eyes of the audience and his victims. Like, if they see him as more of a human, he's not as scary as he would be as, you know, a straight force of nature, a fucking force of will.
I suppose if you do think about an image of Jason Voorhees fondling a woman's breast, it would just come off as comical.
Man,
right?
imagine what he would do to them titties.
He had, like, really long, nasty fingernails in
Them
this one, too.
titties will
Right?
be bent every which way.
Yeah, tetanus shot after that.
Apparently the studio, Piedmont, oh my god.
Piedmont.
Paramount actually paid Joseph Zito double to both write and direct the movie. And seeing as how he's not a writer, he secretly paid Barney Cohen half of what he was paid to ghostwrite the fucking movie.
I had 2 notes on the man behind the mask. It's Ted White.
That's the guy.
He was 58 years old at the time of playing Jason, which makes him the oldest stuntman / actor to portray the character.
He's pretty physical in this one, too.
Oh, the dude's a behemoth, man. He's like 6'4".
Good for him.
He's actually, like, jumping through windows and, like, slamming people around pretty violently.
But also, Ted White refused to talk to the other actors during production because he thought socializing with them would diminish their fear of Jason. He also did not want to be credited with playing Jason because he felt it would hurt his career. Sounds like a fun guy.
Nah, Ted White's the shit, man. Ted White was like, he very much cared for his reputation, and he very much hated this fucking movie.
It's bizarre.
He got into a fight with Joseph Zito and actually had him strike his name from the credits. So Ted White's not even credited in the movie. He literally said, "This movie's a piece of shit. Take my name off of it."
It's wild.
But yeah, I assume decades later or whatever, he's doubling down on the fact that he portrayed this character and is all.
Oh yeah, he embraced it eventually. I think he
saw dollar signs.
I mean, obviously, he probably at one point in time rode the convention circuit and, you know, signed a few pictures here and there. But yeah, Ted White's the shit. Like, he's definitely one of my top Jason portrayers. The guy's he's a beast. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, we're gonna jump in this thing, boys.
Let's get it.
Following the franchise tradition of recapping the events of the previous movies and that explosive title card, we are reintroduced to the horrors that took place at Higgins Haven on Crystal Lake only hours before, and the body of Jason Voorhees limp on the Higgins barn floor. Police and medical workers swarmed the area, removing bodies and attending to the lone survivor. After loading all the victims and Jason himself into an almost comical amount of emergency vehicles, the body of the masked killer is dropped off at the local morgue and left in the care of mortician / stand-up comedian Axel and his begrudging lover, Nurse Morgan. The two meet in the cold room where Jason's body is being kept and get down to the fucking. Even in death, the J-Man's cock-blocking ways can't be stopped as his lifeless hand falls from his gurney and brushes the supple buttocks of Nurse Morgan, sending the lovers into a short-lived panic. The mood now spoiled, Morgan storms off and Axel, still hard as the diamonds of Zinj, pushes the hulking killer's carcass into the mortuary cabinet. The horn dog tries to calm his boner with some Jane Fonda workout vids, and soon climaxes with the ultimate release, that of his soul, as Jason springs back to life, hacksaw in hand, ripping it across the mortician's throat and twisting his head 180 degrees. Not one to leave lovers parted. Jason then corners Nurse Morgan, picking her up off the ground by her throat, disemboweling the shrieking woman with the scalpel.
First off, fellas, we get an exploding opening credit scene. Mask explodes.
No,
Awesome.
the mask doesn't explode. The mask
it was supposed to.
blown.
It was supposed to.
They wanted it to explode, but they I don't know if they couldn't afford it or they didn't have time. I think they only had like 6 weeks to edit this shit, and then they had to get it the fuck out
Churned
there
out.
so it could be so they can actually have it on April 13th.
Yeah, from what I read, it was due for like a December or November release, and they were like, you can get it out in 6 weeks, then I guess they were going to pay you more, so he kind of rushed the editing process.
In the scene where the EMT show up at Crystal Lake after the events of the previous film happened, an EMT says, some emergency if they are all dead anyway. How about that for a cold-ass EMT?
Hey, you know what? After all the shit these guys have seen, that's probably going to be their sense of humor. Did either one of you guys get a Halloween 2 vibe from this opening?
Yeah, when they go to the hospital, I was kind of like dreading it, kind of thinking back to Halloween 2. I'm like, are we stuck in this shit for like an hour? I appreciated the fact that they had to show the wheelchair sequence again in the flashback. I had to watch this poor
I loved it. Oh
handicapped
my God, yes.
man, his dead body rolling down. They showed the entire staircase of him rolling down it backwards.
You know
with
why?
a hatchet
This-
in his face.
All right, this wasn't just a recap. I think this was a showcase of like the high points of the last few movies, and that the wheelchair scene is like the kill for me in that movie.
I've seen him down 4 times in 3 movies.
I love it.
At the end of the movie, they run it back again, like over the credits. It's just like greatest hits.
Forward, back.
Remember this shit?
So to harp a little bit further on the ambulance driver that he was talking about, he's got a weird line right here, and I kind of listened to it a few times to try to figure out what exactly he was saying. He says, I think he says after I listened to it, "Is this the guy who's been leaving the white stuff behind?
Oh,
Has Jason been jizzing on all these fucking bodies?"
Jason.
The white stuff behind.
Dude, he sounded like Peter Curtin, the vampire at Dusseldorf.
Maybe Jason's like the child in the bathroom who learned his penis gets hard in the warm water. It's like, ooh.
Maybe it was like the love making in the house. This guy just assumed that this one guy made all the love and then got killed at the end.
Sex machine.
Did either one of you recognize the actor who played Axel?
Who was Axel? Oh, the doctor or whatever.
Yeah, the mortician.
It was very horned up.
That's Bruce Mailer. The
Yeah,
only
Chris.
movie I've ever recognized him from, Police Academy. He's the accident-prone cop, where there's always something like going wrong in his wake. And then Nurse Morgan, played by Lisa Freeman of Back to the Future 1 and 2.
Why was this dude trying to make love to P90X videos?
Oh, he was getting turned the fuck up, wasn't he?
He was hypersexual. It's very, very bizarre. He's trying to bang this nurse while there's a dead body like on his back of his head, and then the dead body's hand falls out. Like, what is going on?
What about Axel's kill?
It's fantastic.
How vicious was that?
My exact note here was saw that one coming.
Did either one of you guys notice that when they wheeled Jason into the or Axel wheeled Jason into the cooler for like a split second, we can see his like hot breath?
Jason's breath?
Yeah, like against the actual like cold air, like the condensation.
Are you telling me that Josh broke character here and took a deep breath?
No, all right, I think that's what happened. However, in the way I saw it, that showed us that Jason was actually still alive.
Some
And
ambiance.
it showed us something that the other characters didn't know was going on. Even though it was like, I guess, a fuck up, in my mind, it's like a small but awesome detail. What Axel said right after Jason's hand brushed against Nurse Morgan's ass. Jesus Christmas, holy Jesus, goddamn holy Jesus, jumping Christmas shit. Meanwhile, a station wagon meanders down a heavily wooded road. A group of 6 friends bound for their vacation rental home. Lost on the winding back roads, they stop to regain their bearings next to a small derelict cemetery, with one headstone prominently displayed among the rest, bearing a familiar name, Pamela Voorhees. Soon after, the squad continues on their journey, speeding by a female hitchhiker bound for Canada. Distraught, the portly woman plops down, commences gobbling down a banana from her travel pack. Before she can finish throating the phallic fruit, however, a figure approaches from behind, jamming a blade through the back of her throat. Later that night at Crystal Lake, the Jarvis family of Miss Jarvis, elder daughter Trish, younger brother Tommy, and his golden retriever Gordon gather for dinner at their lakeside abode, just as the crew of friends arrive at their temporary home away from home, next door to the Jarvises. The Jarvis kids introduce themselves to their overbearing mother's chagrin and turn in for the night. So yeah, we meet a majority of the cast pretty much in this these next few scenes, or these previous scenes.
Yeah, I feel like there's only two people that really stood out for me. Crispin Glover, kind of the most memorable of the nerdy pack there, who we all know from Willard, of course, and then Back to the Future as well. I thought he was fucking great in this movie, man. God, I'm horny. This dude was just the most pitiful. He reminded me a lot of Weird Science for some reason. I feel like he would have fit perfectly in that movie. And then Corey Feldman, of course, who we've talked about before from Lost Boys, Goonies, Stand By Me. He's creating probably the most, I don't know as much about the franchise as you guys, but the most iconic character that's not Jason in the franchise here.
Oh, for sure. He's I'd say he's comparable to Jamie Lloyd from Halloween.
Laurie Strode?
No, the kid, the little girl. But yeah, Corey Feldman, probably one of the most famous child actors of all time. Famed Michael Jackson impersonator, musical performance artist with Go For It. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Go For It, but you definitely check that out on YouTube. We kind of glossed over him in our Lost Boys review. We gave him a few shout outs here, but Gremlins, Stand By Me, voice of Donatello in 2 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, the live action movies. 1 and 3, didn't voice him in 2 for some reason. Also starred in Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys, a TV movie.
Yes.
Classics.
The Goonies and the rumored Goonies 2, where he reprised his role alongside Sean Astin.
Mouth.
We don't need it. We don't need Goonies 2.
We discussed how he was, kind of an homage to Tom Savini as a makeup and prosthetics artist. So
We glanced over into Lost Boys. It's not fair because that cast was stacked, man.
Oh, yeah. Be honest with you, this cast is kind of, well, you know what? Nah, I wouldn't say it's stacked.
Nah,
it's a good cast. It's a good cast.
It's solid, yes, but as far as memorable career, people who made a career after this, I think it's just those 2 for me.
Speaking of Corey Feldman, recently was at some rock fest, and I'm forgetting the name of it because there's so many rock fests these days. But got his guitar player to chant "Comeback Kid" to the crowd, for the crowd to chant back "Comeback Kid." Corey Feldman comes out onto the stage, and the band skips a beat. He tells the band to start over, has like an entire fit, and then they restart the song, and the song is him just saying, "I'm the comeback kid. I'm the comeback kid," and doing like weird Michael Jackson dance moves. It's all over the internet. You can look it up. It's wild stuff.
Well, he's a rock star. Of course he can tell him to start over. He can do what the fuck he wants.
The dude's got some issues.
How'd you guys feel about the whole dead fuck bit?
Oh, I thought that was great.
That thing went on for a while.
See, you said you didn't think Ted was a standout character.
Yeah, he was funny. He reminds me. He's probably in this movie, but I think of him as the villain from that movie about the guy who like dates the girl who's like pregnant as a teenager.
Oh, that's who it is.
Is that him? I thought it was.
Yeah, that's fucking Gary from Last American Virgin.
Yeah,
based on the life of Willie Two Scoops.
Willie
also was in Starship Troopers 2, Hero of the Federation. But yeah, that was him.
So in that movie, his best friend knocks up the girl that he likes, and he still wants to be with her. Is that how the movie goes? And then she leaves his ass at the end?
No, I think he pays his best friend to, like, teach him how to hook up with girls, or to, like, teach him how to hook up with this girl in particular. And the guy he pays ends up fucking the girl.
Yeah.
Or something like that, man. I remember my mom watching it and us sitting there watching it. And I knew I thought the girl was hot. And the rest of the cast is just a bunch of like soap opera actors and actresses.
Yeah, you better talk about Peter Barton.
Well, no,
go
ahead.
About
I'm
him,
going to let you talk about him. You give Peter his due.
Doug, played by Peter Barton, was on 203 episodes of The Young and the Restless.
Do you know how many episodes there are of The Young and the Restless? And this is not, keep in mind, the longest running or most episodes in a soap opera.
There's probably like 5,000 episodes.
There's 12,791 episodes
I was gonna go lower
of The Young and the Restless.
Wow.
That's nuts.
So you probably can't rewatch that.
What in the actual fuck?
Someone's binging that right now.
Probably can't. Go start at episode 1.
All right, to me that sounds mind-blowing, right? And I guess to you guys too, right?
Yeah.
But then I think about it from the perspective of their demographic, like a housewife who's at home who doesn't have a job because she's expected to take care of the household. She has her own has her own job at the house.
A dying breed of housewife, yes.
Well, you've been doing the housewife thing for 40 years. You grew up and you've aged with this show going on. Like, these people are part of your lives, probably more so than most of your family. You're tuning into this shit every day, 5 days a week. You're spending an hour every day watching it. So you get invested,
I have to admit, Joy, that I've watched a lot of, specifically The Young and the Restless in my life.
That was our punishment whenever we let out of school sick. Guess what? Your ass ain't playing games.
Days of Our Lives, son.
You're watching Days of Our Lives. You're watching
Bold and the Beautiful
fucking game show where the guy like drops the little Plinko thing.
Price is Right, yes.
You're watching Price. R.I.P. Bob Barker just passed here recently.
He was 99. It was time.
He's playing Plinko in heaven. Let's go. But yeah, you would watch that. What's the one where the little midget got turned into a puppet or some shit?
Passions.
Passions.
With Timmy.
Yeah, Passions. That was Passions.
He played the little version of the Grinch in the Jim Carrey Grinch as well.
Oh.
I hate Christmas.
Santa, bye-bye.
I hate Christmas. Dude, he lifted that fucking tree up, started bench pressing it. And then the teacher was like wet.
He says, "What a lovely family heirloom." And then he starts smacking it with a hammer.
What a horrible hack job.
That movie is good.
You're 8 years old and you have a beard.
Dude, I love Jim Carrey. That's my guy, man.
The grown-ass woman is like, oh, the muscles.
That's what I'm talking about. She's fucking soaking wet over this child.
No. You're misremembering it. That is the neighbor remembering as a child when she was a little girl in class with him. She was not the teacher in the flashback.
So it's okay if you're an adult remembering a childhood memory and still getting turned on by it.
If you think about 12-year-old Ryan Hootie and the girls that he found attractive now, it is kind of weird.
How to be like, out loud. There you go. Thank you.
That teacher was
really speaking that out loud.
Sopping wet.
Oh, the muscles.
I would say, before we get too far from this lady, the banana drop. I don't know what it is about the lady and the banana. It's just really icky.
Boy, do you see how she was gripping that banana?
Yeah, the way she's holding the banana and she bites, like the way it just rips out of her hand, it just makes me feel like queasy for some reason.
I'm going to tell you what, she gorilla grips the fuck out of that nanner.
I was prepared for like a lot of bad things that happened in this movie. I was not prepared for someone to smash some fruit.
Like, what was the purpose of the Canadian hitchhiker? Why did she have to be Canadian? Why was she hitchhiking in the middle of the forest?
Body count.
Simple body count, okay.
Body count. She didn't have any lines.
She said "fuck you" on her sign, so she deserved it.
This fortunate, portly woman, she got what was coming to her. No hitching.
And one other thing is Tommy's alien mask is badass.
Oh yeah, he's like playing video games or something with it on.
That thing was cool as hell.
I remember the mask more than I remember Tommy, honestly.
Yeah, we're going to talk about his mask collection. His mask collection is like top-notch shit. But yeah, before we go into the next section, I want to talk about the night scene here where Tommy's watching Sam. We haven't really talked about Sam, but Sam's kind of the whore of the movie. Played by Judy Aronson.
It's confirmed as well.
Fucking hot.
Yes.
A lot of hot women in this movie.
This might be the hottest slasher cast ever.
It's pretty high up there.
But yeah, they Tommy at nighttime is looking across the threshold of the two adjoining buildings, and Sam is upstairs getting naked and is about to bang Paul, another cast member we glazed over, but he's just another soap actor.
Just another guy.
But his mom,
We
Tommy's
got a
mom,
dick.
walks in mid-boner and kisses him good night.
He's very upset.
Do you guys feel like this is where the stepmom incest shit comes from on Pornhub?
This one scene in this one movie created the whole genre.
This is Tommy's first time seeing a set of titties that ain't his mama's or his sister's by accident or whatever, or on purpose. Who fucking knows with Tommy?
I hope he's not seeing his sisters.
And then mid-chub, he kind of has the interaction with his mother, kissing him goodnight.
Yeah, but that's his actual mother.
That's
It's not the-
intermingling. That's
not the
intermingling two different things into one pancake. And you throw that pancake
flapjack.
on the griddle, and you put your butterscotch chips into your pancake mix, and you got a delicious pancake.
You don't know what you like until you like it. Is that what you're telling me here?
Well,
He was humping the bed pretty hardcore, like geeking out when he was like just waiting for them boobs to pop. I was like, I know that feeling, man. I know.
I'm
that
about to
exact
say,
feeling.
I know that exact fucking feeling. I feel
He's
like
like,
I've
"Come
done
on,
that, like the whole jumping around the bed.
Like watching movies as a kid. Like, I think I'm about to see some boobies.
So back to your point about Sam being the slut of this film. She confirmed
God,
it
she is
herself.
fine. Oh,
She's talking to Sarah in the bathroom, and during that they're talking about boy talk, and she tells Sarah that she got the reputation of being a slut in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Stuff.
and Sarah's approved, so that just establishes our final girl is probably going to be Sarah at this
6th
point.
grade's pretty rough though.
Yeah, I think she says even at one point that she asked him like why her boyfriend likes her. He says he thinks I'm good in bed, so that's where I keep him.
Oof.
Got him.
Like
Appreciate
that
that kind of honesty.
Keep them pants off, Paul.
The next morning, the sextet strolls out for Crystal Point on the trails around Crystal Lake and cross paths with a couple of hot cycling twins, Tina and Terry. As soon as I saw the twins, the first thing that went to my mind is that fucking beer commercial from the 2000s.
Budweiser. Yeah.
Twins!
And twins.
You guys remember that shit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know why do the twins always have to be dressed alike.
Because they're twins.
I don't think that's a thing.
I think it goes back to The Shining for me.
So Sarah, obviously intimidated by the sexiness of the crew's perky new duo, heads back to grab the car while the remaining group reaches Crystal Point and goes for a bit of a skinny dip. Coincidentally, the Jarvis kids show up soon after. Having witnessed the skin show, to Tommy's delight and Trish's dismay, they head back home only to find themselves stranded with car trouble. Passing by, a rugged hitchhiker named Rob approaches and offers to help. Some backwoods ingenuity later, and the car fires right up, and Trish offers to give Rob a lift for his service. The three head back to the Jarvis home, where Tommy begs Rob to come check out his room. Upstairs, a wild assortment of homemade masks are on display.
I love Tommy's line here. He sees all these asses. He says, some pack of patootsies, huh?
I love it.
Corny as fuck.
Dude, Samantha's
Ooh.
whore ass. Boy, she took them clothes off real fucking quick.
And lots of male nudity in this film as well, which I think wasn't probably norm for that time period.
No, I think it was definitely the first in the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah, this is a very progressive film.
I mean, you didn't get no cock or anything. You got all like
Well.
butt cheek.
Didn't get any
Dude,
cocks.
imagine a Kevin
Damn,
Bacon.
Chris.
Oh my God.
We should have seen another banana.
Jesus. Kevin Bacon could have poked Jason's eye out with a fuck. Well, no, that was his mom. He could have poked. If Miss Voorhees saw Kevin Bacon's dick, she would have
She
like
couldn't kill
totally forgot what the fuck she was doing in that first movie.
Oh, why am I here? Who am I? Jimmy, who kept telling him, oh, we have no suits. We have no suits.
I like Jimmy. Jimmy was the shit.
But yeah, the twins, played by Carrie and Camila Moore, both are once again vets of the soap opera industry. General Hospital, Days of Our Lives. Rob Dyer, the hitchhiker, he's played by E. Eric Anderson. He played
Say
a
it.
role.
Say it.
Played a role. He played the role of Fish in the 2000 TV movie Blood Money.
Oh, yes.
Not to be confused with the, what year was it? 2007? 2008?
I think that's about right. 45-minute short film, Blood Money. Mr. Anderson was also in a film that I loved as a child that I had to rewind and fast forward and rewind and fast forward. Unfaithful.
So, which one of the twins is hotter, Tina or Terry?
The one on the left. I don't know.
Whichever one goes to bed.
You can tell which one's hotter. It's gonna be Tina.
Tina, just by the name?
I would say trick question because they're fucking identical twins, but as we'll see here in a little bit, one of them likes to fuck, and one of them is a little bit more reserved.
This car breaks down, and we're supposed to just believe that little Tommy, who's like 12 years old, maybe 10, I have no idea, knows how to fix a car because of the way his sister reacts. Like, oh, Tommy's got this.
Well, I think
It's
that the
little
whole
weird.
point of this scene is just to establish that he's kind of handy, you know? Like, it's obvious that from the masks and shit that he makes.
That he can fix a
He's-
car?
Well, not he's fixed a car, but he's kind of like an outcast kid. He's kind of awkward. So he's probably has a lot of time to himself. Yeah, I think honestly, by them showing him playing video games, they try to establish him as a little fucking nerd or some shit at the beginning of the movie.
Actually, I have a note that kind of explains this. Rather than making masks, Tommy was originally going to be an inventor. That was going to be his character's
Like
trait.
a little engineer or something like that.
Yeah, he would make like little robots and shit. And something particularly attached to that piece of information will come back around later in this movie.
Ooh.
Keep that in mind. Tommy would have been an inventor in another universe.
Tommy's son. Oh.
Rob just pops out of the bushes. It's not like a, hey, you guys need any help. He just, boom.
I think at one point in time they were trying to establish Rob, and I don't know why I've never heard anybody harp on it. He was at first trying to be established as like a red herring.
I felt the same thing, yes.
Yeah, I felt that about the hitchhiker kill.
He
Like,
whips
might
that
have done
knife.
that.
Yeah, he whips that knife out of his boot. It's like, oh, is there going to be two killers in this movie? As you said, he just pops out of nowhere. So it's like, I mean, instead of him just being some weary traveler who happens to be in this part of town, it's part of the world, I think it's much more likely he's just a fucking psychopathic killer than just there by happenstance, you know?
Well, he says he's a bear hunter. So, yeah. And also, Tommy just meeting. Okay, so Tommy meets Rob. They fix the car. Tommy wants him to come back to the house, go up to his room, close the door, and then show him all of his masks. What the fuck is going on?
Well, that whole thing is like he just wants some like male attention. He's around two
with the
women
door
all
closed.
fucking day. Yeah, he wants to show off his toys. Or it's not his toys, but his inventions. I don't see that as being weird, man.
It came off as weird to me.
Later that night at the summer home, Jimmy tries his hand at seducing one of the twins with a spastic Caesar-esque dance to no avail, but is able to awkwardly cuddle up with Tina when Paul plays wingman and cranks up the slow jams. Next door, Trish walks Rob out into the night, practically inviting him to fuck right then and there, but he resists the seductress's temptation and continues his mission to wander aimlessly through the woods. Back at the house, the party's getting wild and the twins are getting wasted. A lover's quarrel sends Samantha into a tizzy after one of the twins makes a move on Paul, and she goes for a moonlit swim, bare breasticles and all. She makes her way to a dinghy, resting inside for mere moments before being skewered through the gut by our hulking mass killer. Having second thoughts about fucking around on his girl, Paul strolls out into the night, leaving Jimmy uncovered for the rebound as he heads upstairs with Tina. Paul spies Sam drifting around in the boat and sneaks up on her, only to discover her lifeless body before racing off in terror towards the dock. Waiting for him armed with a spear gun is Jason, who proceeds to ram the weapon through the dude's cock, lifting him high above the water. His screams of pain grab the attention of the nearby Rob, who's camping in the woods. Armed with a machete, he makes his way towards the cries but hears a crackling noise from his camp. He rushes back to discover his hunting rifle snapped in two. So this fucking dance is wild as shit. Can we just... I'm sorry.
I love the fucking dance, man.
The fucking dance needs to be addressed, first and foremost.
Yeah, that was badass, personally.
My brother came to my house this past weekend, and we were talking about this film, and he said that he really enjoyed this film besides this scene. This scene drives him nuts, makes him very angry.
I fucking love the scene. I think it's great. I thought it was fantastic. They put a this isn't Crispin Glover's fault that it played out like this. They put a bait and switch on his ass.
I got the same note.
Apparently, with this dance, it was two AC/DC's Back in Black,
which would match perfectly with the movements he's making there.
Yeah, so he's he's in the fucking pit throwing goddamn bows and shit, and all of a sudden they hit him with the fucking switch. What's the song they switched to? Do you know?
Edited version of "Love Is a Lie" by Lion was dubbed into the scene.
Yeah, that shit is on my Spotify now. But they're trying to set the scene of him trying to fuck this girl. You ain't gonna put Back in Black on.
But that's what he was reacting to.
Hey, why'd you cut that off?
Hey, you want to dance?
Put on fucking Rob Zombie's "Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches."
That'd be bad. You want to dance to Dracula Girl? I love this dance, man. It was great. Apparently, this is how he really danced in the clubs at the time. That was just like how he moved. So, no improv. This is just how he was.
Jimmy is 100% Jimmy. You know?
The dude has an arc, man. I appreciate the character a lot.
So what you guys are saying is you appreciate Jimmy a little bit more than Shelly, huh?
I hate that motherfucker,
Fuck
Shelly.
you, bitch. Give me Shelly all fucking day, bro.
That dude was a waste of life.
That's such a visceral reaction.
Shelly always gets
He's
shit
the
on,
reason
dude.
he got his mask. Without Shelly, we never have Jason.
Fuck Shelly. Jimmy has an arc, man. Jimmy actually goes through like an entire hero's journey in this movie.
Jimmy's a prime example of like how well they did the teen meat. I guess you'd call them meat because all these people are just meat for Jason's fucking body count.
For the grinder.
But Jimmy's a good example of how well they actually gave these characters life and gave them a purpose rather than to be something aside from a number in the body count. We also see that Tina is the horny one of the twins, and she's the one that's hotter by default.
So let's talk about Sam and her nude death scene.
Goodness gracious.
The raft scene, that shit was brutal.
The raft scene was brutal.
He held her down by her back and shoved the fucking spear or knife or whatever it was through her gut
And
out her back. How fucking brutal was that?
through the raft.
And through the raft, yes. Okay, here's your continuity shit. Okay, here's your continuity shit. Hootie's gonna fucking rain on everybody's parade with this continuity. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
It drives me nuts because when Paul goes out there to find Sam, she's in there laying inside of the raft, completely inflated. Not even an ounce of deflation is in that raft. And he finds her, and she's dead, obviously, and then he dies. But what the fuck?
All right, it's not continuity, but a plot hole. You've heard of airless tires?
You think this raft in the
This
middle of
is
Crystal
airless
Lake?
raft. First of
Okay.
all, her gut meat coming out plugged the hole up.
There's coagulation
blood-
going on there.
Her blood coagulated.
Yeah.
Her blood coagulated, and it formed a scab over the actual
Ooh.
tube.
Nice scab. Okay.
Jason could have
All right.
patched it too. There was a bit of time in between there.
Jason loves patching holes.
He's underwater bucket with
Jason
his soldering iron.
Jason just grabbed a mound of fucking pubic hair and ripped that shit off and just fucking stuffed it up in there.
Flex Seal, baby.
Which one was more brutal, the raft or the spear gun through the cock?
I was about to say, why did you shoot him in the dick?
Oh no! Yeah, he shoved the fucking spear gun into his cock,
And it lifted
then he
him
pulled
like
the
10 feet
trigger.
in the air.
and then he pulled the fucking trigger.
See,
It ain't going nowhere, Jason.
Yeah, I don't.
What's up with this?
Very bizarre. I think I don't know. Maybe he was jealous.
I thought the raft was worse.
As a man, you gotta say the cock shit, right?
She looked like she was in way more pain.
Oh yeah, her acting right there was great. Like her face being pinned down and not able to move whatsoever by him holding her down. Yeah, that's beautiful, like, Tom Savini shit right there. It was so good. It's so simple. That's what makes it good. Because it's, like, realistic. He's not, like, ripping her apart or some shit. Well, it's time for some bump and grind as Jimmy shows Tina the best 2 minutes of her life. Fed up with the lack of action, her sister Terry heads out into a now stormy summer night. She mounts her bike, bound for home, only to come face to face with Jason, who ends her life with a sickening crack, a pike pole rammed into her back, impaling her on the side of the house. Inside, Sarah heads upstairs to freshen up for a romp with Doug, as he and Ted continue to smoke weed and watch a blue movie reel from the black and white silent porno era of the mid-1900s. Miss Jarvis, drenched from the downpour, arrives at her home to find the house empty and the power out. For searching for her family and their dog, she comes face to face with her doom. Soon after, Trish and Tommy arrive back home and find their mother missing. Trish heads out on the jogging paths looking for her, commanding Tommy to stay and try to fix the power. She discovers Rob's camp off the trail, abandoned. She takes shelter in his tent to collect her thoughts, only to be ambushed by Rob, who mistakes her for Jason. The two hunker down, trying to figure out what in the hell is going on.
So do you want to give Teddy Bear a kiss? How many times did that guy try that shitty ass line with his teddy bear?
Poor guy, man. Like, that girl was sitting there on the couch looking bored as hell, trying to throw game her way. And she just would not give him no play.
That was cringe, brother. I got Jimmy getting laid, completing his arc. I appreciated that. The dude was legit, like, happy. He was like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 500 Days of Summer. He was fucking flying after he finally got a hold of that.
Didn't he ask her if he was a dead fuck?
Yeah. She's like,
what a question.
Was I dead fuck? Again, the whole dead fuck bit, like, paid off. It wasn't just like a one-off thing. They kept building on it all throughout the movie.
Yeah, his character arc came around. It turns out he's not a dead fuck. He's
not a dead fuck.
Very good at fuck.
It was he was at the peak of his short life at that point.
So this is a kind of an off-screen kill that comes back into the fold. The way they illuminate the Terry kill, it's storming, it's nighttime. They have like a lightning strike, and you see the shadow of Jason ramming the pike pole through her back. I thought that was like super cool and a clever way to show the violence while also, kind of bending to the rating system's stingy ass requirements. It comes off camera and he projects her so hard into the side of the house. She sticks into the side of the house like he just threw a spear.
So we haven't really seen much of Jason either to this point, which is kind of interesting considering this is the fourth movie in. So they're not really leaning into how scary he is so much as how menacing the whole idea of being stalked in a campground is.
At this point, to me, the red herring of Rob was still in effect. Because he's walking around the woods with a fucking machete.
So yeah, about these, this fucking porno movie this guy's watching.
Oh, God.
Either one of you going to pick this for your merch?
I want that real, baby.
Why was he laughing so hard? What the hell was he smoking, drinking,
He was high.
on?
He actually got high. He got high for this thing. He was trying to do this method acting bullshit. And I think it showed in his performance.
Yeah, he was barely there.
Yeah, he figured it was I think afterward he said it wasn't the right move to make because he could like barely focus.
He didn't do anything. He just
yeah. I mean, he just seemed high. Jimmy, now oozing confidence and possibly a couple of STDs, heads downstairs to grab a bottle of wine, but not before bragging about his conquest to Ted. The Lothario searches through the various kitchen drawers for a corkscrew, and Jason does his best to lend him a hand, planting it in Jimbo's, nailing him to the counter and thwacking him in the face with a cleaver. Upstairs, Tina finishes Coca-Cola douching to eradicate Jim's weak-ass nerd sperm and heads back to the bedroom in search of her new boy toy. She finds the room empty and deciding to peer out the window. Bursting through, Mr. J grabs the sexy brunette and chucks her from the window onto the station wagon below, shattering her spine. Back at Rob's camp, he comes clean with Trish, explaining exactly why he's there. He's searching for the man who killed his sister Sandra just days ago at Packanack Lodge, on Crystal Lake. Rob convinces Trish that the man is still alive, and the two rush back to the Jarvis home to protect Tommy. Meanwhile, Doug finally gets his chance to nail Sarah in the upstairs shower while Ted comes to the end of the stag film reel. He approaches the projector screen and is stabbed through it, right through the back of his head. Sarah, now filled with a load of her own, leaves the shower, hoping Tina saved her some soda contraceptive down the hall while Doug finishes his bath. The lights in the bathroom go out and Jason smashes through the shower door, using his incredible strength to press Doug's head against the tiled wall until the back of his skull implodes, pressing his nose bone into his brain, Cameron Poe style. Sarah, now content to bear Doug's brood, makes her way back to the bathroom, discovering the corpse of her lover draped over the broken shower door shards. She scrambles down the stairs and to the locked front door, frantically turning the handle. An axe bursts through the wooden exit and embeds itself in her chest.
A lot of deaths quickly.
Quite of dude. When it hit, when it started, like that ball got rolling, that snowball got rolling, it got fucking rolling.
Really enjoyed the Jimmy corkscrew death. Thought that was very well done.
Fan-fucking-tastic, dude.
Jimmy was shit, man.
Do you think Jason was like laughing to himself in the closet while Jimmy was searching for the corkscrew?
Where's the corkscrew?
That's a very Jason sense of humor thing to do. Like, yeah, he has his fucking corkscrew and he's just waiting for the opportunity.
The king of irony, man, Jason Voorhees. I thought the stunts were pretty good in this bit too, like the people falling, like her falling onto the car and stuff like that. It was surprisingly pretty good for.
I was shot well.
I assumed it was all going to be like, oh, it'll be some cool effects and cool makeup, but the stunts are kind of probably going to look like crap.
It was shot great. That's a big thing about this movie. I talked about it earlier about how well it was put together by Joseph Zito. The talent's there. It's just the catalog isn't.
I was a little confused on why when she fell onto the station wagon, everything inside of it exploded. All the windows bursted out. Like the damn car, like a bomb got thrown into it.
Well, let's think about it. She was probably thrown from what? Maybe 16 foot?
Second story, yeah.
She was. I think the way it plays out, it's supposed to be shown that Jason throws her with so much force, so much strength that it isn't just the fall; it's the force that he threw her with.
Nice.
I think it's just to emphasize his power. At this point, I mean, it's obvious he's got the fucking power.
And this is the first of many, many, many window-shattering scenes.
A lot of windows breaking.
You speak of the stunts. The actor who played Doug here actually had his face rammed into the tile. So these actors, like, a lot of them did their own stunts. Like Sarah out in that fucking water, she got hypothermia from being out in that water.
Butt-ass naked.
Apparently Ted White was like threatening to walk off set.
He's pissed.
If Zito, Mr. Zito, Director Zito, didn't allow her like breaks in between. Still got hypothermia, so.
You don't cover them beautiful breasts, and I'm quitting this job.
God almighty.
That I don't want to be associated with. Like I've seen 100 of these movies, and they're always 90 minutes long. Usually you have like one kill every 10 minutes, but this one gives you like 6 within 5 minutes. It's pretty. It's like a fireworks show. It's the grand finale, kind of just booming.
And they all were well done. But when you look at that Sarah and Doug scene, there was something of a bit of a covering up there.
A fluffle?
Oh yeah, that was a body double for sure.
Yes, it was.
You don't shoot it like that and have it come out that way unless it's a body double. Because all it did was show her ass, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, because they go over the window. Barbara Howard, who played Sarah, was willing to wear a bra and panties for the scene, but unlike the other actresses, she refused to go nude. So the producers hired actress Robin Wood to double for her in the nude shower sex scene.
I feel like that should be a T-shirt, like an anti-OnlyFans T-shirt. Refuse to go nude.
It's a good point, yeah. I mean,
it's got OnlyFans on the back and it's got like a slash to it.
Imagine being Robin Wood and your only contribution to this film is your ass.
After they get in fucking Sarah and Doug, she's on her way out of the bathroom. Doug, Sarah, I think I'm in heaven. Sarah says, I think I'm in love. Doug says, what?
I'm out.
God
Shit,
damn,
what time is it?
already? Holy shit.
That was some good penis.
And then he jokes that like Paul walked into the room and starts joking about dropping the soap. That whole section was strange.
I hope to God you don't drop that soap.
He's really talking to Jason, telling him that he dropped the soap. So Jason got very offended by that.
Jason's got a corkscrew of his own to take care of that.
I bet he does got like a little pigtail wiener.
You know, the head of his dick probably looks like the head of when he was a kid.
Jesus
Got the fucking bulbous end on it. Looks like a light bulb. He got the light bulb dick.
Got two heads on this dick.
Next door, Tommy is able to get the power back on and is reunited with Trish and Rob. Trish tries the phone for help, but the phone lines are down. Rob and Trish make the decision to check next door to see if the out-of-towners know what is going on, once again leaving Tommy on his own. Gordon finally reappears, as if to warn Rob and Trish of the bloodbath inside. Rob checks out the basement while Trish and Gordon stand watch. Gordon, sensing imminent danger, freaks out and commits what can be only be described as the first ever recorded dog suicide, jumping through an upstairs window, glass and all.
Did he jump out the window?
Dude, he jumped out the fucking window. Instead of being, like, torn asunder by Jason, ripped in fucking half, he decides, hey, I'm jumping out this window. It's over.
Fuck it, I'm out.
Another window, though.
Another window. How many windows this place fucking got? Trish follows him upstairs, where she finds the body of Doug pinned to the bathroom wall. She races down to the basement and warns Rob. The two scramble up the stairs, only for Rob to turn back for his dropped knife. Jason springs from the dark, pinning the man to the wall, stabbing him over and over with the garden claw. Trish, unable to do anything to stop the murderous Hulk, bolts upstairs, but armed with a machete, regains a modicum of courage. She heads back into the basement to check on Rob, who lies dead. She turns to escape, but not before being grabbed from below by Jason. A few hacks with the machete breaks his grasp, and after several run-ins with the corpses of Jason's latest victims, she escapes through the window in the kitchen. She bolts for her home, where she and Tommy try their best to barricade themselves in, with the unstoppable force of will drawing ever closer.
How'd you guys feel about Rob's death dialogue?
You motherfuckers are gonna shit all over it.
Where he says, he's killing me. He's stabbing me. He's killing me. Oh, my God.
It was bad. Joey, it was bad, man. And he kept
Okay.
telling her to run.
Run.
Well, okay.
You gotta run. He's killing me.
Apparently, Zito set this whole scene up because of an article he read back in the 60s about this woman who was, like, stabbed 30-some fucking times outside of her apartment.
Oh, was this the Kitty Genovese story?
Yeah, I think that's
When no one
it.
reacted to it?
And accounts of the incident apparently claimed that she was screaming that she was being killed. He's killing me, he's killing me. And it was like 30-some neighbors or something heard it and no one did a goddamn thing about it.
Yeah.
Now, it apparently was...
So wait a second. So he wants to drop that illusion at the end of Friday the 13th, Part 4.
No, I think it was just something interesting or cool, or I guess not cool, but
See how this
it's
plays out.
interesting. See how it plays out. All right, I can see how it is comical, and apparently it is taken comical by quite a bit of people that watch the movie because it's a grown man screaming about he's killing me, he's killing me, he's killing me. But I see it from another perspective. I see it from this character has been built up to be Jason's equal throughout the movie, right? He's been built up as
He's
the
hunting
guy
him, right.
who's hunting Jason. Jason's finally Jason's not the
Met
one
his match.
that's doing the hunting. He's being hunted. And then when he finally comes face to face with his prey or the thing he's hunting, he's no match whatsoever. And him screaming that is pretty much showing just how powerless he and by I guess association the audience is as well when it comes to dealing with Jason.
So is that supposed to be what spurs the final girl Is that why she returns to the cellar?
I think part of it too is him being courageous. Like in his dying moments, he's able to say, "Hey, you need to run. You need to get the fuck out of here."
You gotta run.
She senses the human element in his death and wants to avenge it, I guess.
Yes. Honestly, it don't make no fucking sense going back down there. Like, at all.
It really didn't.
Like, this grown man, this man that has been established throughout the movie that this is a tough guy. You know, this is a rugged guy. He doesn't stand a fucking chance. And he's armed with a knife, too. He's armed with something, an implement to combat Jason. And he don't stand a chance for a single second.
Yeah, he gets ran through like fucking Swiss cheese.
Yeah, you got a machete, but, I mean, you ain't gonna really do anything with it. Kristen Glover being nailed to the back door like he's fucking Jesus on the cross. And then Jason, who's chasing Trish out the door, and she runs around, you know, the nailed body. Jason literally walks up, grabs the dude by his torso, pulls him down full force, ripping the nails, his hand from the nails. How fucking dope was that, man? That was so cool.
It was cool. But why was it there to begin with? Why is Jason having fun, like placing bodies in certain places?
Why is he being theatrical at this point?
Yeah, this. I don't think this isn't the first time it's been like this. He did this with Higgins Haven too, didn't he?
Do you imagine walking up on Jason, nailing Kristen Glover's body to the wall, and he just
Oh, 1 second, hold on. I mean, he can't speak. He can't really express himself, so he's got to get it out artistically.
I like it with bone art.
Bone art.
More bone art would have been great.
Bone art.
We got to make that a T-shirt, boys.
Crucifixions and bone art.
If he hooked up with Leatherface, I don't think either one of these guys would have killed anybody. They would just been keeping each other's company and, you know, not to be deterred by a few boards and nails. Jason tosses the corpse of Rob through the living room window, grabbing Tommy. Trish bashes the man's head with a hammer repeatedly, eventually planting its claw in his neck, breaking his hold on her little brother. The two rush upstairs and barricade themselves in Tommy's room. Jason bursts through the door with an axe, lowering his head for a split second, just long enough for Trish to dunk a TV on his head. Electrocuted and down for the count, the pair try to sneak by, but Jason springs to life, separating the two. Jason takes off after Trish, who runs the killer next door, through his house of horrors once again. Trish escapes by taking a cue from Gordon, leaping through a second-story window, but landing on the soggy, muddy ground, breaking her fall. Now hobbled, she slowly makes her way home, with Jason stalking behind. Upstairs, Tommy goes Jenny from Friday 2, using the power of psychology, shaving his head to resemble a sketch of young Jason he found in a newspaper clipping from inside of Rob's hobo pack. Trish continues her battle with the spree killer until Tommy grabs his attention. Taken off guard by the boy's appearance, he lumbles forward in a trance-like state. Trish makes the most of the opportunity, taking a swing at him with the machete, knocking off his mask and revealing what time and violence has done to his face. He turns his attention to her long enough for Tommy to grab the machete, planting it into the side of his face, causing him to land on the handle and slide down its length. Tommy, visibly disturbed, picks up the blade, embracing his sister. Just as a sense of relief wells up in the two, he notices Jason's fingers twitch, so the young boy proceeds to hack into the killer over and over again, leaving his sister horrified and in shock at the gruesome and violent scene. Sometime later, in the local hospital, Trish recovers from her wounds and brother and sister embrace once more, with Tommy forever changed. Die! Die! Die!
Die. I did think the Jason sketch was pretty dope in the newspaper clipping. That looked really cool. I don't know who would have drawn that. I guess it was like an estimation, I guess, of the original Final Girl's description of the little boy that grabbed her.
Yeah, they never found the body.
Yeah, so there was not like a photograph of the actual kid Jason in existence.
How does she describe? Yeah, this bubblehead motherfucker had a bunch of seaweed on the side of his fucking head, bro.
She said, "You ever read that? What's this book about scary stories to tell in the dark?" He kind of looks like one of those little motherfuckers.
y'all remember Lenny of Mice and Men? Think about that motherfucker's head covered in seaweed.
Now smash it against a few rocks, you got it. the fact that Tommy shaves his head, which I have to do all the time, that shit takes a while, man. He needed like 30 minutes to get that dome shaved. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there.
So we're supposed to believe that Tommy can fix a car, he can build masks, he can play video games, and now he knows the secret to Jason.
He's a fucking child psychologist right there on the spot.
Chris, you're always talking about overpowered characters. I am putting Tommy at the forefront of an overpowered character.
I'm going to say he's a quick thinker here.
I think he's a quick thinker. I think from Tommy's perspective, look at it this way. There's no way you're going to stop this guy. You've literally done, the guy's, he's a Hulk. He's 6'4". He's a massive guy. There's nothing you can do. Your car don't fucking work. You know, there ain't no driving away, getting away from this guy. You got to think outside the bun. You know?
Yes.
Thinking outside the bun, you know, this motherfucker might be, you know, a little bit slow in the head, slow in the brains.
Not in the muscles, though.
Yeah, try to think outside the box, and thinking outside the box is shaving your head and looking fucking terrible.
And Jason
looking like me if I ain't fucking shaved my head in a couple weeks.
Jason is supposed to react to someone looking like he looks because he's not playing the mom card. So now he's like playing a mirror with Jason of like, I am the same as you.
I'm a creepy looking little fucker too. Speaking of creepy looking little fuckers, what about him with the masks off? You don't think they're leading into like a demonic thing here?
No, I think they're just showing what the
just
fuck
a really
this guy's
unattractive
been through.
man. You're thinking
his face was fucked up.
Dude, he was in that water swelling up, all them fish and shit eating at his face. He's been in the woods eating fucking toads and eating pine cones and subsiding off tree moss.
Noodling and shit.
You know that ain't good for your skin.
I need the side movie with Jason noodling.
The noodling. Fuck, that's the 5-minute short film we need there. But here we go. Let's wrap it back around to Tommy being an inventor. So, one of the projects that Tommy was going to have made was a microwave oven, which is what he would have used to kill Jason.
Damn, what was he gonna give him? Fucking cancer? He's gonna fucking he would have
What are you
died. He would have
talking
died 40 years later or some shit. The
Put a bag
radiation
of popcorn
from
in
the
there and
microwave or some
fucking
shit.
burn his ass with it.
Don't move, Jason. Stand right there, brother.
I thought that was pretty bizarre. I don't know how that would work.
So yeah, here they, you know, the movie kind of lived up to his name. It's the final chapter. Jason's dead. However, looks like Tommy might have inherited some of his evil.
Crazy. Was that the illusion they're making there? It's very open-ended. I feel like The Hills Have Eyes had this exact same ending where he's going ham on the body, and you cut there. And this movie should have done the same thing. Instead of giving me the, 2-minute explanation of how everything turned out a month later.
But yeah, that wraps up Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
So what memorabilia did you guys find interesting to take home from this trip to Camp Crystal Lake?
It's got to be Tommy's mask collection, right?
A collection? Nah, that's too many. You gotta pick one.
All right. Well, in particular for me, it's the hand puppet one that looks like the mini demons from that late '80s movie with Steven Dorff, The Gate.
I am also going to take a mask, but I will be taking the alien mask that he was wearing playing the video game. That thing looked badass to me. And it was the first mask that you see.
I think he modeled the mask off of the video game.
Oh.
I think he modeled it off of Jason's fucking face. That was
very close.
It was a very bulbous alien
I got
face.
the bubble guts. Motherfucker, I got the bubble forehead.
For me, yeah, I'm actually going to take that Crystal Lake Massacre news clipping just because it's cool. I did like the drawing. It reminded me of some early 90s stuff we used to check out at the library. Grade books out, boys. What kind of letter grades are we sending Mr. Zito home with today?
1984's The Final Chapter is the one film in this franchise that I have probably watched the most over the years. To me, this is the quintessential Jason film because it gives you everything you love about the character without having to explain new pieces of the franchise like the previous versions have done. He already had the high-key mask and the machete, and which have now become iconic with the character. Warm bodies were placed for Jason to mow through in new creative ways, and sprinkled on top was an overpowered character named Tommy. The final chapter, by far, has the best cast ensemble so far, and the fact that they were able to get Tom Savini back one last time to kill his creation is a pretty cool way to send off this franchise, at least at this time. The countless breaking glass scenes do get ridiculous, and Jason being everywhere all at once is something you just have to live with these films. Quite honestly, fellas, I loved it. I gave it a B+.
So, Friday Part 4, flaws and all, does outshine its predecessors. This type of horror is not known for acting, but this one has a cast you can actually get behind. Crispin Glover, for me, stole the show. He had the nerdy charm, epic dance moves. The rest of the crew, including your boy Corey Feldman, are solid. And if you're into eye candy, this one does not disappoint. They show plenty of attractive skin, man butts included, and it diverts kind of from all the gore. No time is wasted here. The pacing is swift. You got memorable deaths and well-defined characters that are just kind of fun to hang out with. The addition of a family dynamic and a diverse set of victims add a layer to this entry in the franchise. This is the best so far in the series and a good slasher in its own right. If 80 slashers and hot folks battling Jason Voorhees are your jam, this is that one. For Mr. Barry Zito, here is a B+. Now get the hell out of my classroom.
This is the one you've been waiting for, folks. Personal favorite of mine, along with Part 6, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, is a triumph of 80s horror cinema. We got the gore, we got the violence, we got the kills, we got the TNA, we got it all. Hands down, the best of the first 4 films before the series takes a left turn, drastic left turn, starting with a new beginning. In regards to the previous sequels, the acting has improved tremendously. The cast is well cast, with vacationing teens actually being likable and having individual personalities and motivations, providing the audience with small subplots that make the time between kills enjoyable and even engaging for the most part. Corey Feldman is excellent as Tommy, an unlikely hero you can't help but root for. Ted White is a beast, a hook of a man, intimidation incarnate, and does a brilliant job really emphasizing just how otherworldly Jason's strength and brutality really is. He plays the role of Jason with a silent rage and fury that makes him one of my favorite portrayals of the masked monster, if not my absolute favorite. Pretty close to Richard Brooker and Kane Hodder. We have the return of Tom Savini, who's come back to kill that which he helped create. We have some of the coolest kills in the series, and arguably some of the most memorable in the annals of horror history in that third act. Awesome gore, thanks Tom. Speaking of the final act, it plays out perfectly, and Jason's send-off does not disappoint, thanks to Savini's flawless practical effects and makeup. Seeing Jason unmasked is something to behold, and a huge treat for those invested in the franchise. Such a great and memorable ending. In the technical sense, the movie just looks and sounds good. Harry Manfredini does what a Manfredini do. The camera work, the shot composition, the editing, those aren't things you can typically fawn over in a Friday the 13th movie, but in the final chapter, it's noticeable and stands tall in comparison to other entries in the series. Sure, there are continuity issues, plot holes, the story's generic, run-of-the-mill for the franchise, blah, 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 blah. It's a Friday the 13th movie. Of course, all that stuff is there, but honestly, who gives a shit? The final chapter is Friday the 13th in its purest form, and could not have sunset Jason Voorhees in a more fitting manner. They may have killed Jason Voorhees, the man, but they can never kill his legend. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, grades out with a B.
All right, I'm going to recap the audience fan score guesses from Rotten Tomatoes. If you're new to the show, it's something we do for fun. Usually we have stakes that we use to allow someone to choose our next film, but as this was a mandatory, there was nothing on the line, but we still took a stab at it. Joseph guessed a 70, Mr. Hootie a 51, and myself a 44. And as there is nothing at stake, of course, Ryan Hootie nailed this one. It was a 51 audience score.
Damn, on the fucking nose.
How about that?
Very rare, perfect.
Don't mean shit.
Perfect guess there for.
That's like winning a preseason game, brother.
Undefeated in the preseason, Ryan Hootie continuing to trek forward in life. And if you do remember correctly, Joseph was in the driver's seat for a correct guess on a previous episode. But alas, we are in homework season. We got a big holiday coming up you may have heard of called Halloween. And thus, as we've done every year, our next film will be the next in the Halloween franchise. A little film from 1982 called Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
I've seen every Halloween movie except for this one.
Yeah, this was until very recently, a blind spot for me as well. So, Silver Shamrock. It's going to be on your Spotify, I guarantee it, in the next 3 weeks.
Silver Shamrock.
All right, folks, you want to join us? We're going to hop onto the official trailer for Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Let's go.
Dude, this sounds like fucking It. This sounds like It 2. Like the start of It 2.
Wait,
Like the music powering like that?
Yeah, this is so far removed from Michael Myers right now.
A goblin mask.
You got the gorilla mask or whatever that is?
That was bad.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
The night no one comes
Hell of a trailer. Didn't show
Tell
shit.
you what, really
That's the
brought
best.
that
Hey,
up.
best kind of trailer.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween. The barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red.
Just phantasm.
You happen to know anything about this Cochrane?
Cochrane.
Did he just say cock rings?
Is Cockring back?
I guarantee you that.
Yeah, that kid have so much fun.
What is the final process?
It's just too close.
Oh God, he was gonna get
This
suck,
shit
Whitney.
is so bizarre.
He was gonna give that dude the suck.
It's like a Star Trek episode, man.
It's like it's like something from Twilight Zone.
It looks like it should be a television show.
Just what I had in mind.
The masks are fucking dope, though.
Do I need a reason?
What's that shit on Netflix? Black Mirror. It's like an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah, I can see
This
that.
is an emergency.
Damn, is he gonna pop that bitch?
Good joke.
He keeps showing this goblin mask.
The joke of the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
You've got to believe me.
They're going to kill us.
He's pissed.
Stop it.
How long is this trailer?
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor.
The fuck keeps saying Halloween in the background?
I think they keep saying that to remind you it's a Halloween movie. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know it's a fucking Halloween movie.
3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
Who is, are y'all whispering or is the fucking trailer whispering?
I think the
I thought
trailer's
Hootie was whispering the whole time.
So did I for a minute. It's
That was
Hootie, will
freaking
you
me
stop?
out.
Stop doing that, Hootie. Season of the Witch.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The fact it doesn't have Michael Myers is probably gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. I'm gonna go fucking low. I'm gonna say a 35.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just saying that. I'm not saying it to hate on it. I'm saying it. The general public's probably like, man, it's Halloween. More Michael Myers. Oh, where the fuck's Michael Myers instead of a bunch of bugs?
In my head, I had 38, but I'm not gonna do that to you, Joey.
Well, no,
I'm
it don't
gonna
matter.
go-
I mean, it doesn't,
Again,
you know,
this is
anything,
this
so-
is another no stakes guess
yeah,
here,
just
boys.
whatever.
Well, 38 then.
You know, it's probably gonna be exactly whatever Hootie says.
Probably
just for the
38.
hell of it, so. I'm gonna say a 25
Jesus,
because
it's not a bad movie, is it?
You'll find out in a few weeks. This is the definition of a left turn. This is a
I might
90-degree
have to watch
turn.
this tonight before I go to bed.
It's a unique one. All right, folks, thank you for listening. Check out our website, horriblefilmschool.com. You'll find links to all the podcast platforms and some of our social stuffs. Give us a follow, leave a review. We appreciate those. We love the feedback. If you're up to it, send us some highly crafted hand puppets. I'm going to say goodbye and offer my support to women crushing on random hunky bear hunters camped out nearby. Here's to hoping the juice is worth the squeeze.
As always, if you're hearing our voices, tell at least one person you know. Spread that love. Spread the campaign. Tell them about the Horrible Film School. And then, in the meantime, add that Happy Halloween to your Spotify. You're going to love it. And I'm out.
Thanks for all the likes, the subs, the listens, the follows, the downloads. We really appreciate you guys and gals' support, as well as your time and attention. Be sure to join us next time when we celebrate Halloween with Silver Shamrock in 1982's Halloween 3. Class dismissed.